Welcome to the Holistic Kid Show. My name is Zane.
My name is Abdullah.
And I'm Imad.
We're the Holistic Kids here to educate us kids from the inside out. Nearly 1 in 3 U.S. adults and more than 1 in 4 U.S. children reported having a seasonal allergy, eczema, or food allergy in 2021, according to the data from the CDC's National Center for Health Statistics.
That is a lot of kids dealing with allergies.
You're right, and life just doesn't stop when you have food allergies.
So if you have severe allergies, how does one navigate real life being a kid and trying not to get sick?
Well, we have the perfect guest with us today, Jackson or Jack Thurlow.
Hi, how's it going, y'all?
Doing good. Jackson is a 19-year-old who has been living with his allergies since he was 2 years old. His mom, Cynthia Thurlow, is a best-selling author, TEDx speaker, nutrition expert, and even has one of the top health podcasts with over millions of downloads. Jackson, though, is a college student athlete, electrical engineering major at Virginia Tech, and even a lacrosse player. That's why we are so excited to welcome you to our podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
That's our pleasure.
That's
Our pleasure.
So can you please tell us more about your story?
So, yeah, like you said, I've had allergies since I was 2 years old. I mean, I've grown up, thinking always, having that in the back of my mind. And eventually, like before college and high school, it's not something that it's always like in front of my mind. It's not something I'm always thinking about. And obviously when I got there, I had the first night I was there, I had an allergic reaction for the first time. I had to use an EpiPen for the first time. And that kind of, that brings the whole allergy thing like to the front of your head. It's like you start thinking about it again. Like it's just something that I was so used to that I had stopped thinking about it like actively. And because I would only eat like the same foods. It wasn't like I was going around eating all this stuff that I didn't know whether or not had nuts in it. I would eat, like in high school, I was just a lot of meat and vegetables, and those normally don't have nuts in it. So it was just not something I thought about. And then when I got to school, you're exposed to like Virginia Tech has one of the best dining halls and programs in the country. And so you have access to tons of different kinds of food from all over the world, stuff that I have never tried before. And, obviously I had an allergic reaction. That became something I had to think about again. And so, yeah, that's how I've changed my thinking when it comes to like my allergies and stuff like that.
So, like, what do you do to
So how do you manage your allergies? I mean, you said we read that you've been dealing with them since you were 2 years old. Have they kind of become part of your life, or have you just decided to come to terms with them, or are you trying to fix them and reverse your allergies?
So it's kind of something I've come to terms to. There are opportunities to reverse or try and like lessen your reaction to these things, but it's called like peanut trials. And what they do is they like inject you with some form of peanuts or tree nuts or whatever you're allergic to. And normally you do that when you're younger in like middle school age, that kind of thing. And when I was offered that, what it does is it means you have an allergic reaction. When they give you that shot, you have an allergic reaction and you have to do it repeatedly. And risking that, and that means you have to spend a lot of time at a doctor's office or in the hospital worrying about if you're going to have an allergic reaction to the shot you just had. And that was just something that I did not feel like I could do. And that's not something I wanted to do. And so I decided that I will make this part of my life. I will accept that I have these allergies and I will deal with them for the rest of my life, whatever that means. And so that if that means I have to carry an EpiPen around for the rest of my life, that's fine. I don't mind doing that. And so that's what I've done now. And all of high school, that's what I would always in the backpack. You have your EpiPen, and college was the same thing. Food wise in school, it's kind of just stick to what I know and what I like. A lot of like meat and vegetables and meat and like potatoes, stuff like that. It's just easier for me. Like I don't eat a whole lot of like pastries or bars or anything like that. That's just not what I like. And it's not, it's not worth my time worrying about whether or not it has peanuts or tree nuts or whatever in it. And so managing eating at college is honestly not super tough. There's a ton of options, and knowing what I already like and what I can eat just makes it way easier than, like trying a bunch of different stuff and having that, worry about that every day.
So just like you, we also have a mom that's really big into health, really big into nutrition, that loves medicine. So how has your mom helped you with your allergies?
She's very much on top of it. She made sure I had like 5 or 6 EpiPens when I went to school. And she's always like reminding me, like if I'm out with her and I'm eating dinner or something, and sometimes it's just not what I'm thinking about. She's sometimes thinking about it more than I am, and she'll like ask the waiter at dinner if this has nuts in it, and I won't even think to ask because I won't even think this dish would have like nuts in it, and she'll ask for me, and I'm just not thinking about it at the time, and that has saved me multiple times, which is very helpful, and that kind of thing. But she's more on top of it than me. And I mean, when I told her what had happened when I got to school and how I had allergic reaction, she's calling me, making sure, remind me every day to check what I eat and that kind of thing. And she's just made me be more mindful of what I choose to eat to make sure that this does not happen again, that kind of thing, and she's making me think like more deeply than just food. How can I be exposed to nuts through not just me eating it? Like if one of my friends eat it and it's on his hands, and then he gives me something else, and then I eat it, like he hands me a bag of chips and I eat some of those chips that he was just eating out of, and he had nuts before. How could that affect me? And she just has me thinking at that like next level kind of thing.
Yeah, we can definitely relate to that. My
Mhm.
mom is always like, okay, what kind of chemicals is this having? And always
Yes.
sometimes we won't even think to check the ingredients, and we'll be like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I completely get it. My mom's the same way, even stuff not relating to nuts, just, whether it has seed oils, high fructose corn syrup, stuff like that. She's always thinking it's like, you checking the ingredients. I'm like, yep, that has that, can't have that kind of thing. I completely get it.
So I'm guessing when you were in school, in elementary, middle school, high school, did you guys have like I remember for us we had like a peanut allergy table.
Yeah, at the very end.
So like how was that for you?
I was lucky, kind of. A lot of my friends had the same allergies as me. I can think 4 of like my best childhood friends all had some kind of allergy. And so what we had ended up doing is, instead of like putting ourselves in the peanut table, we had like kind of our own peanut table. And that's what we did from elementary school, middle school, all the way up to high school. We just sat by ourselves because we all know what we each can't eat. And so we made sure that we would never like one of my friends is allergic to shellfish. We would never bring shellfish, and he would never bring nuts because he knew that the other 3 of us, other 4 of us were all allergic. And so we managed to create like our own peanut table without like putting ourselves like, I guess, in the, secluded peanut table. Because at my school, it wasn't like the end of the table. It was like another table by yourself. And we always thought that wasn't, we didn't think that was right to be like secluded just because we have a peanut allergy, that kind of thing.
That's why it always looked really sad when you look at the peanut allergy table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like my mom asks the like question, like, do you feel like alone because you're not eating these types of food that everybody else does?
Not as much as you'd think. I mean, like when you meet like some of the friends I've met and like I'm at school and stuff like that, they'll poke fun at me and they're like, haha, you're allergic to nuts. And, I joke around with them, and you just got to be lighthearted about it. But I've never been like, no one's genuinely like left me out of something because I've been allergic to nuts. Not really. Like, and it's just because a lot more people than you think have nut allergies. Like I never realized how many people are allergic to foods until I got to school. Like there in my hall, on my hall and my floor in my dorm, there are 12 of us. There are 4 kids who have food allergies, not necessarily nuts, but 4 of us have food allergies. And so it was something that I could talk about with them. And like we all like were connected in the fact that we were all allergic to something, whatever it may be. Like one of my friends, it was dairy and wheat. And that means that his options are very limited. And so we talked that I was like finding ways to eat the food that we want to eat without, making ourselves sick, that kind of thing. So yeah, it was like, it's just, there's a lot more people than you think. So you're not really secluded from anything.
Yeah, that's what we always tell people. Like, you're not alone, and there's so many other people that are going through the same thing.
Yeah,
And
you just need to find them.
Yep, and it's pretty easy. It's like one of the first things you think about. Like, I walked in, and so I walked into my friend's dorm. Like, one of the first weeks we were here, it was like my second time meeting him, and he had a jar of sun butter on his table. And not a lot of people eat sun butter if you're, you're not allergic to peanuts. And so I asked him like straight up. That was like the first question I asked him. I was like, "Oh, are you allergic to peanuts?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then we had a whole, like, the whole childhood talk, how many times we've had allergic reaction, how many times we've accidentally eaten peanuts or tree nuts. And it was just something that like we could connect and talk to instantly, like right off the bat. We didn't talk about anything else. That's what we talked about. And that was how like I was able to be friends with him. And now he's one of my best friends. I plan on going to see him over winter break. And so I'm excited for that. And that was just something we could connect to like instantly, just like that.
So, what are ways you are preventing exposure, especially during parties?
Preventing exposure, parties and stuff like that, parties, tailgates, stuff like where you go in to have fun before like a football game kind of thing. There's not a lot of like really food there, like true food, like not like meals and stuff. If there's food there, there's snacks or like chips or like chips, pretzels, stuff like that. So there's not usually anything like with nuts. And if there is, it's maybe like candy, like Reese's peanut butter cups. And I mean, those you can, if you're allergic to nuts, not to eat those. And so you can like figure it out what to not eat and what to eat. And like there are other ways, like people who have eaten like peanuts within the last like hour, 2 hours and stuff, you can kind of smell it on them. I don't know why, if that's just a me thing or like I've talked to a couple like kids with peanut allergies like that. It's very, very easy for us to smell peanuts. They have a very distinct smell. It's very like overpowering. I know it's there. It's like very distinct. And so that can keep you pretty safe on where to steer clear of and who to steer clear of, so you don't get sick or you don't get exposed. But like dining halls, themselves too, they have a list of allergens on every meal, on every ingredient. So that's not something you always have to worry about. So yeah, keeping myself healthy in like college and stuff. It's just like moderation of everything is what I would say. You got to be moderate in how much you eat and how much you have fun and all that kind of stuff. That is like my biggest thing. So have school, I got to go to the gym, I got practices 3 times a week. So trying to get that all in there and be healthy while like, mentally healthy and physically healthy has always been like a big part of me, big part of what I want to do. I wanted to make sure I was balanced when I was at school. Getting sleep is number one for me by far. I got to get my 8 hours. I might throw a nap in there in the afternoon if I got some spare time. And that's my biggest thing is get my sleep in. I make sure I know when I'm going to eat. I plan it ahead of time. And that's the best way I've been able to keep myself healthy in school for sure.
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned sleep because all the college students I know, they're always like, yeah, no, I got 3 hours of sleep, like if I'm lucky. But 8 hours is amazing.
No, I can't do it. I like my roommate is very much like that. Like the dude will stay up till 2, 3 in the morning and then wake up for his like 10 a.m. at 9 o'clock. And I'm just not built that way. I can't function off that little amount of sleep. And so I'm like, okay, I will save this work for tomorrow. I will start getting ready for bed now. I will get my 8 hours. I will get my sleep, even if that means that I have to spend some more time tomorrow afternoon instead of taking a nap or relaxing or whatever it may be. I will take more time to do my work to make sure I can be okay. I can be okay for tomorrow morning so I can pay attention in class and, do what I need to do, that kind of thing.
So how do you manage stress in college? Because I know college can be very stressful.
Oh yeah, especially that. Right now, we just got home and the next week I got 2 exams. The week after I got all my finals. I mean, stress is a very big thing. And I think for me, stress has always been a big issue for me. Like even as far back as when I was starting high school and, like classes like really start to matter. They matter for your GPA. They matter for like colleges are going to see that when you're applying. And stress has always been a big thing for me. There was a period of time my freshman year of high school where I was so stressed all the time. I wouldn't sleep, I wouldn't eat, and it was very, very scary for me that like stress had taken over such a big part of my life. And so I decided when I came to school, I didn't want that to happen. And so I've kind of gotten the mentality that like once I'm not going to be stressed over something if it's already happened. Like if I have an exam, okay, I'll stress, I'll study, I'll do as much as I can. I will put in 100% effort. And then afterwards, I will like forget about it. That's how I think about it. I don't stress about my grade because I know I put in as much effort as I could. And I'm going to get the grade I'm going to get now. Like that, like it's just, I'm not going to stress about something I can no longer control, that kind of thing. That's just what that's how I figured out is the best for me, is to like just have it out of mind if I don't need it to be in my head. Like my
It's like
exams.
the past is the past.
Yeah, past is the past. Perfect way to put it. Just not going to worry about something I don't need to be worrying about, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So, what are some things, because I know a lot of parents, they like to watch, what are some things that parents can do or that your mom did that really helped you when you were younger and you had allergies?
She like would I used to go to the grocery store with my mom every week, and that was something I did up until probably last year, 2 years ago, kind of thing. And she would look at almost anything. She would read the label on almost everything, whether or not she was looking for peanuts or seed oils or whatever it may have been. She would read the label, and that was something that definitely helped me. That had saved me more than once. And she also made me do the same thing. It became a habit almost that every time I would go to the grocery store with her, it was something that I was thinking about too. It was something that I was looking for. I was looking to make sure I could have these foods. And so I think as a parent, you being attentive to your child's allergies is very helpful. But I think the most helpful thing is making sure your child themselves is attentive to their allergies. Because eventually they gotta go to school, they gotta go to college, they're gonna graduate high school, they're gonna leave home, whatever they may be or whatever they may do, they have to be on top of it, on them by themselves. So having teaching them to be on top of it is probably the best advice I can give, because it has made my life so much easier now.
Yeah. So remember, in high school they talk a lot about helicopter parenting and making sure, and lawn mowing parenting, where you try to do everything for your child, and then when they get into the real world they don't know how to do anything. So just like Jackson is saying, try to teach them how to manage their stress, their allergies, all of their problems. Teach them how to manage it, right?
Yep. Managing it is the key.
So
Imad used to also have allergies.
Oh, really?
I do.
He still has allergies.
Yeah. Okay. What are you allergic to?
I have walnut allergy, not that severe, and I have a pecan allergy.
Yep.
And then I have cat allergies.
Gotcha. I'm same thing. That was walnut and pecans are one of my worst, actually. Hold on, I might just go close this window for 1 second.
Wow. Our light went out.
Oh no, should we go fix it?
There we go. Sorry about that.
No problem. Yeah, our light went out as well, so we're
all good. But yeah, walnut and pecan are one of my worst. I can get away with almonds and stuff. Almonds I could probably eat. I could probably get away with that. I don't need the EpiPen. But pecans, walnuts, cashews, very bad. That's instant EpiPen. Got to go to the hospital, kind of thing. And it's a scary thing to think about. I guess for me, that something like this big is going to send me to the hospital. But yeah, I get it.
So how did you transition from being terrified of walnuts and pecans and nuts to just living with them and coming to terms with your allergies?
It's just more of you get used to it. I mean, it's not I was talking about stress earlier. I'm not going to worry about something 24/7 if I don't have to be. And it's really not something you have to worry about if you already know how to avoid it. I've been living with these for so long. I would say I'm pretty decent at figuring out like what might have nuts in it, what might not. And so that kind of like, it lessens the fear almost. And honestly, my experience this year, just in college, has made me more confident. Like when I got sick, I knew very, very quickly that I was like, I can't swallow anymore. I can't breathe. I need an EpiPen now. And going through that process, and even though I was panicking inside, I was able to get the steps done that I needed to save my life. So I knew that I had to get an EpiPen, and I knew I had to call 911. And getting those done while being under like incredible stress and stuff like that, that definitely like improved my confidence in being like not as fearful when it comes to peanuts and tree nuts and that kind of thing. Like for teens and for college students, like one of the biggest things I would say is have people around you who know what to do. Also, that was a very big help. Like all my friends, like my hometown friends, they'd known that I have a nut allergy for a long time. And I told you that some of them had nut allergies themselves. And my roommate, I made it very apparent. I told him exactly what needs to happen if this happens. And he was the one who actually stabbed me with an EpiPen. So I had explained it to him beforehand when we had got to school, like I think 2 days before that. I was like, just in case this happens, here's what you do. And I was shaking. I was terrified. And so I was like, hey, I need you to uncap this and stab it into my thigh. And that's what he did. He was able to call 911 with me. He was with me all the way up until I got into the ambulance. And that was incredibly helpful. It makes you relaxed. It helps you chill out. You're not as panicked. So if I had like one overall biggest tip for a college student or a teen living with an allergy, have a best friend, have a brother, have someone there with you that knows exactly what to do. Okay. And sometimes you'll just have you'll be like the kids in my hall, like they were with me too. They knew what to do. They didn't have to do anything, but they knew exactly what to do because they'd had experience with it themselves. And having that there is like incredibly beneficial. And I'm sure that when you guys all go to college, you will find people who are allergic to nuts too. And they will probably say the same thing. Having someone around you who knows what to do is the best tip, the number one tip for sure.
So there's a lot of misconceptions. I know for us, because we don't eat we don't eat artificial foods, and we try to stay away from GMOs and chemicals and organic foods. We try to eat more naturally.
We eat organic foods.
Yep. Oh yeah, we eat organic foods, but we try to eat more naturally. But like everybody always comes to us and like, oh, you must be living such a depressing life, and they have all these wrong misconceptions about eating natural. So what are those misconceptions that you want to clear up for allergies and stuff that you've encountered with people?
Misconception when it comes to allergies, people think that if you can't have peanut butter for some reason, your whole life is ruined. I'm like, it cannot possibly be that good for me to need it so bad. And people who have allergies think that oh, you're missing out on all this great food, but you're not missing out because you don't know what it tastes like. So you've never had it before. So you're not missing out on anything. And there's always alternatives for everything. So that the misconception that you're missing out on something, I just don't think is there. And I think it's applicable for your situation too. I've never had a lot of these fast food chains that my friends have had, and then I'll say that and they'll just be like, what, you've never had that before? Oh, it's so good. And I'm like, it's not worth it, man. If I'm going to eat some junk food, that's not what I want. That doesn't do it for me, you know?
Mm-hmm. Same. Some people are like, oh, you eat vegetables, you only eat broccoli and carrots.
Yeah, you don't eat carrots.
But so many other vegetables.
So many vegetables, and also there's so much alternatives for everything. Everything basically has an alternative. So it's really instead of focusing on what we don't have, we can focus on what we do have.
Yep.
That's a big part of it.
Great way to put it. I would say that's the same thing for nuts. You know, there's alternatives for everything. Like the Reese's peanut butter cups, they make ones with sun butter that are delicious. And sun butter in itself I think is pretty good. My dad is not allergic to peanuts, and he loves peanut butter, and he says they taste about the same. So he thinks they're pretty good too. So it's just, there's alternatives. You're not missing out on much. So it's nothing to worry about.
So this was amazing.
Amazing. You are so empowering. We are so honored to have you with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So, what tips do you have for others, kids and teens living with allergies?
I would say for number one is have someone around you who knows what to do in the event of an emergency. If you can't, someone else around you should at all times. I think that is very helpful. Be moderate. If being healthy in college is all about being moderate with what you do. Take care of yourself. Go to the gym or find a way to exercise and something that you enjoyed. Like across the street from my dorm is a bunch of tennis courts and pickleball courts. Go have fun. Go there. Get active. Be outside. That's, I think, the best way to be healthy in college, and like get your sleep, that kind of thing. Like learning how to. Oh yeah.
Oh no, sorry. I think you just lagged a little bit, so you thought you were done talking.
Yeah.
Oh, my fault. No. Learning how to recognize like what is gonna may have your allergies in it, like baked goods, granola bars. I mean, these like processed, like packaged foods and stuff. Those are gonna oftentimes be far more likely to have nuts in them than like your meat, vegetables, potatoes, pasta, that kind of stuff. So know what to look for. Be paying attention, like know what you're ordering at the dining hall, know what's going to come out and what's going to be in front of you and what it might have in it, like just because when you know what you're looking for, you become less fearful of it, and it just makes your life less stressful. And that's all it's about. You want to be less stressed. You want this to be a low stress thing, even if it, is a deathly allergic reaction like it is for me. I don't want to be thinking about that all the time. So, that being said, like try and, be the least bit stressed you can, and, find alternatives. You're never missing out on anything. I can truly say that you're never missing out.
And that's why we always like to say, focus on the positive and don't focus on the negative.
Uh-huh.
Right? Focus on what you do have and not what you don't.
Yes.
Then you'll live so much happier life.
Yeah, you are never missing out. I love that. All right. Thank you all so much for having me. Do appreciate it.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure.
Of course. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Jackson. That was empowering for all of us. Let's recap Jackson's key points.
Moderation is key. Take care of your mental and physical health. When you live with food allergies, learn to read labels. Teach kids to be on top and how to manage their own allergies.
Life-threatening allergies can be scary. If you already know how to avoid your allergies, it lessens the fear. Have people around you that know what to do. Teach those that you dorm with or your friends that can have your back whenever you need it. Find alternatives for everything.
Your lifestyle is key to your overall health, especially when you're trying to survive college with allergies. Don't let stress take over your life, and don't always be stressed over something that has already happened. Like me and Jackson said, the past is the past. You tried your best, and that's all that matters. Put in all the effort that you can, and don't stress over stuff that you can no longer control. Learn to read labels. Sleep is also very important.
Yes, sleep.
Plan out ahead of time and know what to look for. Know what you're ordering, and also when you know what you're looking for, then it will decrease your stress.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are never missing out. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zain Sorry.
I'm Abdullah.
And I'm Imad.
Follow my family on social media, Holistic Mom D, and stay tuned to our book, The Teen Health Revolution, releasing 2025. Kids need to learn from other kids. Please download our podcast on iTunes and leave reviews so other kids and families can benefit. We need to work together to create a healthy future for all of us and the planet. Join us next week for another episode of the Holistic Kids Show.